Morning. Got another story to tell you about our hero. Went to court a few days back, and we walk into the courtroom. Of course, a sign on the door says, no cell phones, no drinks, no this, no that, all these stipulations that, well, they really don't apply, and they weren't written in English, so you really can't read it anyway. It's more of a form of art, if you will. So naturally, I like to walk in with my cup of coffee and my cell phone. For the same reason a dog cleans his testicles. Because he can. Same reason. That's why I do what I do. Because I can. Okay? It doesn't harm anybody. It doesn't hurt anybody. And quite frankly, if I'm parched in the middle of a meeting in their realm for which they rent office space to fleece people, well, I'm going to quench my thirst. I do my best not to spit shit all over when they walk all over people's rights while I enjoy my cup of coffee. It keeps me sane, and it also keeps me quiet. So maybe that's why they don't try and take my cup of coffee from me. Anyway, back to our hero. She walks into the courtroom, and of course accompanied with me, and we immediately announce our arrival. I say, "Good morning, Tammy." She's the administrator, if you will, and she just kind of looks at me, doesn't say anything. Pretty typical. Wasn't rude, just didn't say anything. And then, of course, the prosecutor, "Who's this?" addressing the judge as such. And turns around and goes, "Oh, it's Derek." And as he's saying that, he turns around and he's looking at Tammy and he goes, "Andy's got a cup of coffee." I almost said, "Would you like me to go get you one?" I mean, far be it from me to tell you whether or not you can have a cup of coffee or a glass of water or anything else. But I mean, to act like we're in kindergarten all over again, and you're tattletaling to the teacher that Derek's got something he's not supposed to have, is just absolutely asinine. Anyway, I'm waiting for Tammy to say something about my delicious cup of coffee. She never does, of course, because to create controversy with me leads them down a path they don't want to go down. All right? It's not worth the squeeze. The juice is not worth the squeeze to harass me about this. I promise you. And they know it. So the prosecutor asks what we're doing there today. Well, we just need to understand some things, and our hero needs clarification, because we spent 2 hours in the prosecuting attorney's office a few weeks before that, and he was articulating to us, let's see if I have some of them around here. I might. No, I sure don't. So anyway, he was articulating to us that in order to make payment, he grabbed a book of sticky notes, a little square book of sticky notes, and he said, if they gave you one of these, and he peels a sticky note off, right? Now, mind you, we're in his office to get clarification on what species, because we wish to remain in honor and settle the affair. And he pulls out a sticky note. If they gave you one of these, and then he pulls another sticky note off, and he goes, I expect you to give them one of these. Mind you, he doesn't have power of attorney over the alleged plaintiff. He doesn't have power of attorney given to him by any of the other alleged plaintiffs, because there were multiple plaintiffs in this alleged debacle. He allegedly represents all these people, yet he can't prove the contract that he has with them. And now he's asking us, demanding and commanding of us, to do something that he himself is not even authorized to do, which is make a legal determination on what species to make them whole with. He's saying, if you don't make them whole, I'm going to bring charges against you on their behalf, yet he doesn't have a delegation of authority to do that. Right? Power of attorney. So what I found was funny is, since we couldn't get any clarification on what species of payment after 2 hours of being harassed, badgered, and at one point I was threatened with the FBI. You threaten a witness with the FBI, a corrupt organization that doesn't have a delegation of authority to operate out of Washington, D.C.? Are you really Stupid. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you threaten me? And threaten me with a corrupt organization to boot. Still hasn't arrested Hillary Clinton. They still haven't arrested Bill Clinton. They still haven't arrested Obama. They still haven't arrested the Bushes for 9/11. And you're going to threaten me with a corrupt organization on top of it. Lord, have mercy. Please help them, dear Lord. They are so lost. They know not what they do. They know not what they do. So we show up into court. And, of course, the prosecutor says, well, you're not on the docket. He goes through the pages. 3 times he goes through the pages. You're not on the docket. You're not on the docket. And our hero says, oh, yes, I am. I'm on there. I'm even online on the docket. I'm supposed to be here today. He goes through for the 4th time and he goes, oh, there you are. You are on here. All you have to do is go out into the hallway, the corridor, and there's the clerk of the court's office. And if you go out there, you can just pay. Well, damn it, Steve, we'd sure love to pay, but last time we had a little meeting in your office, you illustrated to us that we pay in sticky notes. Yet you say that if we pay in sticky notes because we know what you mean, that you'll bring charges. Well, interesting. You can't clarify your juxtaposition because under Title 31, if you do that, you can be had for treason, okay? And we know that you're not dumb enough to make such a stupid statement. So you've created an impossibility, haven't you? Naughty, 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 naughty. So we go into the court, and Tammy, who's the administrator there, all right, far be it from me to say she's a judge. I only know one judge, and I'll meet him when I'm dead, all right? And I'm sure I will be judged for my sins, because the Lord knows I'm a sinner. Tammy interacts with our hero and says, what are you doing here today? And she says, well, I just need some clarification. I'm not a U.S. citizen. I just wish to remain in honor and provide remedy today. That's why I'm here. I need clarification on what species I'm to pay with. And Tammy quickly addresses our hero, who's the alleged judge, and says, do you mind waiting till after our arraignments to handle this affair? And our hero said, not a problem. Now, that's a courtesy. Our hero didn't have to give that courtesy. She's asking for her consent, all right, to handle this affair after they've done their business, right? 1, so they can expedite their business of the day and handle those affairs. And 2, because they don't want anybody in the room when we start talking. And I'm going to tell you that right now. They've got a duty to protect the truth from ever getting out to the rest of them. See, we're not supposed to create insurrection by telling the truth to other people. It creates problems. There's a need for this system. Like it or not, it's not going anywhere, guys. So it's a matter of you ascending of the mind, figuring out whether or not the juice is worth the squeeze for you. I will never be on my knees unless I'm before the Lord. I will never beg another man or woman for anything unless I'm before the Lord. Period. I would rather die on my feet than die on my knees. And that's just how it goes, right? So you have to make that conscious decision. Are you willing to lose everything you think you own to stand up for what's right? Or are you just going to bow your head in dishonor and shame, knowing that there's something more, that something isn't right, and hang on to your materialistic possessions that aren't yours? They're not yours, not in the frickin' slightest. You came into this world naked, and you will go out of this world naked. That is how it is, people. So, when you understand that, and you realize that they can take everything away from you because you own nothing, and you didn't do your proper due diligence to put it into a trust. So back to our hero. We go through the arraignments. Before we go through the arraignments, I pull our hero out in the hall and I said, look, it's very clear that Tammy's demeanor is not aggressive or hostile to you today. So I want you to change your tactic, and I want you to be honorable, respectful. All you do is ask questions. You don't answer anything, because making a statement is detrimental to you. And your only objective is to remain in honor. And the only statement you make is that you're not a U.S. citizen, okay? And you identify that very clearly on this record. So she does these things. As they start to speak, the dialect is between Tammy, which is the alleged judge, the administrator, and our hero. And at one point, the judge gets a little tricky. See, the manipulation of language, the casting spells by articulating things. Tammy needs our hero to admit that she's an employee. After she says she's not a United States citizen, if our hero admits to being an employee, well, whether by voluntary compliance or otherwise, she admits to being in the commercial realm, changing the jurisdiction, okay? So Tammy asks our hero, do you have a job? And our hero says, yes. And I'm going, damn it, at what point did I tell you to answer questions? I didn't tell you to answer questions at all. But she answers it. And then she says, so you're an employee? And our hero goes, yep. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, she just got you. She's got you. And Tammy knew that she had her, and she looked at me and just kind of smiled. That's how quickly the whole situation can change the polarity of where we're going. Just two simple questions with two simple statements put her back in the commercial jurisdiction as a United States citizen by admitting she's an employee. I embark in fair trade, okay? And because I embark in fair trade, I make a living. I don't earn an income, okay? I make a living. If I'm going to make a statement at all about what I do, I make a living to survive out of necessity. Period. I'm not gainfully employed. I don't have a job. I'm not dishonorable in the good works that I do. I make a living, okay? So the conversation presses forward after that point. Now, our hero's got two options here. She really needs to save face. And how is she going to save face? By asking the ultimate question. And that question is, I would really like to provide remedy. I just need to know what species. And without missing a beat, our Tammy Shint turns around and goes, cash, like a vulture over a carcass in the highway. Cash! I almost busted out laughing, but I knew better than to do that, so I took my old cup of coffee and just put it in my mouth. So I didn't sit foot in mouth, you know. And without missing a beat, our hero said, can I get the definition for cash so I understand what you're asking for? And Tammy says, all I need you to say is that you can't pay. Which is technically correct, because you can't pay for anything. You can't pay for a damn thing. You can't pay for shit, because an FRN note is a future promise to pay. Period. You can't pay for anything. All right? Not in their world, you can't. You can only offset and discharge. So our hero, thinking that she's being tricked into something or coerced into something, really stands moot on the subject and says, well, I just need the definition for what you're asking for so I can provide remedy and remain in honor, okay? I just need to know 479 what? 479 what? I just need to know what it is, and I'll bring it to you. And our Tammy says, again, I just need you to say you can't pay. Now, that's not a falsified statement because, one, we've created an impossibility. We've asked, well, the court has asked for something to be done, but does not specify how it can be done or what constitutes payment. So it's an impossibility, right? And out of necessity, we have to come back into the back door of the court and ask for specifically what is needed to be tendered as a payment and what species. Tammy's not going to go down that road. She's just not going to do it. And she finally looks at our hero and says, what do you want me to do? And our hero says, discharge. I require that it be discharged. Tammy says, all you have to say is that you can't pay. And she says, if you do that, I will discharge this and it'll be taken care of. So finally our hero says, well, I can't pay. You're not being specific. I don't know what I am to pay if I could pay, And she says, just sit tight. The printer starts printing paper in the middle of the courtroom, and she walks over with it and goes, here you go. There's your discharge. Pretty impressive. We didn't get into the 3 sheets of paper that I had put together with our hero before she got into the court. And she had actually done the due diligence on her own and just run it by me. And it was phenomenal what she pulled up in order to ask effective questions. See, under CFR 277211, all crimes are commercial. And if all crimes are commercial in nature, right, then that means that we are in a commercial realm where everything can be set off and discharged. Murder, rape, sodomy, theft, grand theft auto, all of it can be set off and discharged. It's all bonded. It's all the obligations of the United States under Title 18, subsection 8. So, and also in the Constitution, it tells you, I believe it is Article 8, Section 5, tells you that nothing can be tendered but gold or silver. And it also says the same thing in Article 1, Section 10 as well. Nothing shall be coined but gold or silver to pay a debt. With that superior knowledge, a win was had to the degree that it was discharged. But now there's the matter of bonded securities and negotiable instruments issued in our hero's name, which she has rights, titles, interest, dividends, derivatives, headments, general tangibles, general intangibles, chattels, and securities. She needs them back. They're hers. How do we prove they're hers? Her signature is the only one on them. They're hers. They're not abandoned property. She's not abandoning that shit. She wants what's rightfully hers. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, once you understand that this is all commercial, that everything they're doing has to do with bonds and securities, point blank and simple. It is that easy. It's that easy. All right? Now, if you're going to bring a claim against these people, it might be advantageous of you to do a little due diligence on how to hold your own court. You see, so often people forget that there are 4 branches of government. 4, not 3. Most common folks say, well, there's a legislature, the executive branch, and the judicial branch, right? What's the 4th one? What's the 4th one? Which is rightfully the first one that should ever be mentioned. Me, the man. I'm superior. And in order to comprehend that and ascend to the mind, God created man, man created government. Am I subservient to God? You bet. Bondservant in Christ I am, an ambassador of peace. I don't want to see war. I don't want to see violence. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. At the end of the day, everybody should be able to go home. I agree with that. I think that's just natural, innate in everybody. Everybody wants to go home to their loved ones at the end of the day, right? So there's no need for violence, although there is a need for defense because there are evildoers out there. So always stay strapped and ready to rock. Keep your shit wired tight and your head on a swivel, because if you're sleeping and you're not being observant of your surroundings, at some point you may be taken advantage of. It's always important to keep your wits about you, even in the commercial realm in a court. Same thing. Keep your shit wired tight and your head on a swivel. These people are tricksters. They practice deviling. That's what lawyers do. They do deviling by way of spelling, casting spells on your weak and feeble mind because you've been indoctrinated in the public education system to think a certain way. All I've got to do is get you to realize that box that they've put you in, you can easily just step out of. It's that simple. I've been traveling around in a number of different vans lately that I had acquired over time, that I'm actually in the process of trying to get rid of, the needy families and whatnot. And, I've had a number of officers behind me, and nobody's pulling me over. Why is that? Could it be that absent a victim, there's no crime? Could it be they're actually seeing me behind the wheel in a private household consumer good that requires no registration? Could it be that I, as a man, am not required or bound by statutes, codes, city ordinances, and provisions to comply with any of their nonsense? Could it be that I'm impervious of any falsified suit being brought against me for the fact that if there is no injured party, then I become the victim because somebody falsified a record against me and they're absolutely liable for their actions? Something to think about, ladies and gentlemen. So anyway, our hero walks out the door, head held high, chinking 6 silver coins they gave her to hold while she was in court, like she was at the casino, because that's all, it's like listen to Pink Floyd. Listen to the song Pink Floyd called Money, and you can hear it right at the beginning. It's just a beautiful sound. She walked out with her head held high. She made a few mistakes. She learned a lot, all right, but she prevailed. In the end, discharged. I would like to know what they were discharging, though. 479 what? We couldn't get that answer, unfortunately. But what we do know is when they create an impossibility out of necessity, they got to clean them books up. They got to zero out that account. You can't hold somebody and put them in a cage because you can't explain your juxtaposition. See, threat, force, violence, coercion is all acts of a tyrant who can't explain their position and standing. That's what they resort to every time. And I like to say he who denies principles is nothing more than a brute. And my good brother James is telling me, well, that's not how the maximum actually reads. Okay, it doesn't read that way. Fine, so be it. It still makes perfect good sense. If people can't get their point across, so often they will move to tactics of bullying you. I don't know about you, but when people try and bully me, I put a size 12 on, even though my foot's only 10 and a half. I like to have fun with these people. You got a good heart, Derek. Oh, we try. Hey, I'm fatally flawed. I'm going to tell you that right now. I am not perfect. I am far from being a sinner. I'm absolutely sin. Whether it's in the mind or a physical action or whatever, sinning is sinning. Right? And I recognize my faults and work hard to change my trajectory and my course of action. But at the same time, I will never be free from sin absolute, The beautiful thing about free will is important. People need to understand it and comprehend it to the best of their ability. Free will and belief is so powerful, not even God will try and change that. He tells you in the Bible that you are granted free will to make your own choices, to create your own destiny. And it's so powerful that not even He will try and change your mind or your belief. He'll never do it. So why would I go in and try and change your belief? All I can do is plant seeds and allow you to use critical, logical, rational thinking to derive your own conclusion based upon what you are seeing, smelling, hearing, tasting, If it tastes like a turd, chances are it's a turd. But far be it from me to tell you you're eating shit. I mean, if you believe it's a chocolate-covered candy, well, by all means, continue on. So, just want to let you guys know, you can prevail with logic, with sound reasoning, with comprehending that absent a victim, there's no crime. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. And according to the Judicial Center, if your ass isn't black enough, you can't have a camera in there. O.J. Simpson could have 12 cameras in his courtroom, but obviously my ass wasn't black enough. I couldn't have a camera. Like I told the judge one day, I told her, I looked at her, I say, there's only 2 types of people in this world that don't like being filmed. A porn star after a long, hot, sweaty day of work, and criminals. Which one are you? Logical, rational question, right? With a little George Carlin twist on it. Either one or the other. You're either a criminal or a porn star. And I don't see the porn star thing. I don't think your mom would be too happy if you was trying to admit that, falsify a record, lie and saying he was a porn star. So you must be a criminal then. You must be a criminal, because only criminals don't like cameras. That's why you see cameras everywhere, to deter criminals from breaking into your home. ADT, protected home, right? Cameras installed. It's a protection device. They don't want you to have cameras in their courtroom because they are pulling a scheme and a scam on you. That's what it is. So you remember that. You remember that you need to have recording devices. you can use the realistic explanation that I'm going to tell you right now. I have a learning disability. And so often, your equipment has technical difficulties and malfunctions. My equipment very seldom fails. So it's probably best that I create my own record. If you have a right to create a record, then I also have a right to create a record. It's a quid pro quo. And if you don't like that quid pro quo, well, tough cookie raunchy's, all right? It's not my problem. Not my problem. Think about that. Think about the logic behind that. You are ordered and summoned to be here, and you can't have this, that, the other. You better be here. What a bunch of cockamamie horse shit, right? That's what's wrong with this world. People have bowed down and become coy because somebody sits 4 foot off the ground on a elevated perch and barks orders at him like the Wizard of Oz. Pull the damn curtain. Realize that's just a little midget on the other side wearing no clothes. Look at him like a little baby whining for their bottle, because that's exactly what they are. All right? So, I hope this video helps you out. I'm going to try not to babble on or ramble on too much longer. You can prevail. It's not that damn hard. All right? I have some friends that recently just got pulled over. DUI. And then, you know, the husband got upset, and that turned into a alleged assault on an officer. This man would never assault an officer, but if anybody was assaulted, it was his wife. His wife was assaulted by an officer. But so often they try and spin the story. The truth of the matter is, no matter whether or not they were inebriated or not, they may have violated the letter of the law, but they didn't violate the spirit of the law. What do I mean by that? Well, she may have had a couple glasses of wine at dinner, and in her way home or on her way home in her private household consumer automobile, right, her unalienable right to locomotion was impeded, which is theft of her time, by Nebraska State Patrol. Now, before I carry on any further, I want it to be very, very clear. I don't support not supporting your offspring, and I don't support drinking and driving. I just think it's ignorant. But just the same, absent a victim, there's no damn crime. The only crime that's occurring is theft by Nebraska State Patrol, a private for-profit corporation with a DUNS number and a banking account and all that fancy shit that they funnel through the court system to get paid to justify their existence, okay? She gets pulled over. She gets arrested for DUI. The husband's upset about it. He gets arrested for obstruction of justice and alleged assaulting an officer, which they drop that cockamamie charge, but then they pick him up and they steal in SP, Nebraska State Patrol, this man or woman that was on the side of the road with them, steals their automobile and then takes some of their medication and possessions. Now, let me make this perfectly clear for you. Maybe this will help you seat it in your mind, the reality of the situation. The statutes, codes, city ordinances, and provisions absolutely do not apply to these men and women, okay? They only apply to government employees or volunteers. So you have to make that decision. If you're a volunteer U.S. citizen, if you're a voter this year, and you're going out there to vote for people because you don't know how to self-govern, I hold nothing against you. More power to you. Amen for you, all right? However, if you know who you are and you know that you were raised correctly and you know a village helped raise you to be a good, honest, integrate man or woman, then you don't need anybody to govern you. Pretty simple. Real simple shit. The theft occurs when the automobile is ordered by Nebraska State Patrol to be picked up off the side of the highway by another agency, a tow truck company. That's theft by taking, okay? Theft by taking. Now, the alleged DUI, driving under the influence, is nothing. It's nothing, absent a victim. But who is the victim? The man or woman that were accosted against their will, having their medication taken from them, and being accosted and cuffed and put into a cell and then extorted from. So we've got extortion, we've got theft, we've got coercion, all for alleged statute, code, city ordinance violation that they can't prove applies to you. So again, there are no facts in dispute. I'm here to bring my counterclaim because theft is a crime and statute, code, city ordinances are not law. So the crime that was arbitrarily placed on this man and woman is higher on the totem pole than a statute, code, city ordinance violation. How do we prove that? Although they violated the letter of the statute, code, city ordinance, state ordinance provision, They didn't violate the letter or the spirit of the law. The reason that it exists is to protect people, right? But allegedly, it's to protect people. But we know that no officers, State Patrol, Highway Patrol, Sheriff's Department, Police Department, none of them are obligated to protect you and I as men and women. Not a freaking one of them. There are so many Supreme Court cases, it's absolutely astounding that people still believe that they're out there protecting you. They're not. They're not. I can't make it any more fucking clear. They're not there to protect you. They're there to harass, badger, extort, steal for victimless fucking crimes, which makes them thieves, lying, looting, pandering pieces of shit, stealing food off your table. Was anybody hurt? Nope. So this man and woman are accosted against their will. They had their property stolen from them under threat, duress, and coercion. Absent a victim, there is no crime, which makes them the victim. And the Nebraska State Patrol officer, who's a man who sometimes feels or acts or feels that he is an officer, stole from them. And they need to bring a counterclaim against that man or that woman, whatever the case may be. Because theft is not only unlawful, ladies and gentlemen, it's also illegal. It's illegal to steal from somebody, and it is unlawful to steal from somebody, and that is the grounds and the principles, if they stand on, they'll win. They'll win that case hands down. The important part is to go in there and say, there are no facts in dispute. Why? Because there are no facts in that court yet. Not until I, the man, come in and lay the facts down. Because that State Patrol officer, he can either be a witness or he can be the process server. If he's the witness, well then it's ineffective process service. It's denial of due process of law. If he's the process server, well then who the hell's the witness? Better yet, if there's a witness, who the hell's the injured party? State can't be an injured party. It's an inanimate object, a figment of man's imagination. It does not fucking exist, ladies and gentlemen. It's no more real than Kris Kringle, the Easter Bunny, Tinkerbell, Peter Pan. It's not fucking real. If you still believe in those things, Lord, I apologize. I'm sorry to ruin your perception of reality, but Rudolph never flew over your house, guys. It didn't happen. Anyway, love you all. Thanks for joining me. Like I said, we're working on some things right now that are just going to expedite your ability to learn through websites and all this stuff that I have no idea how it works. But nevertheless, I've got great people around me that are helping me ascend to the mind in the technological realm and going to help expedite my videos, the literature I have, the knowledge I have gained, and give you guys a good, strong foundation for standing up saying, no more, not doing it anymore. I'm done. I'm done with your tyrannical bullshit. I'm done participating in your Ponzi schemes. I am done. And once you have that down, they won't want to play with you anymore because you take up way too much time for them that could be utilized fleecing sheep that are wearing masks. That's the whole mask thing is just to identify who's dumb enough to go along with the flow. That's all it is. All right. If we were really in a national pandemic, we'd all be staying home. We'd create negative rooms in our house that forces air out instead of letting air in. It'd all be through carbon filters and filtration systems. It would be immaculate. They would move very swiftly to ensure that we nip this in the bud. People in Wuhan, where this originally started allegedly, wouldn't be at the nightclubs on Friday night going, all right? Everywhere else in the world, they're partying, and here in America, everybody, oh, the COVID's going to get you. Be careful. Get out of here with that horse shit. All right? I'm not saying people don't get sick. People get sick all the time. Where's the flopping bodies in the United States? Remember when Wuhan first came out with this COVID thing? How scripted was it? I mean, you had Chinese people walking down the street all of a sudden just and looked like fish flopping out of the water on the shoreline, just flopping around. Where were the American people flopping around at the universities and at the grocery stores and at their places of employment on camera, because there's cameras everywhere in the 21st century? Where did you ever see one video of an American flopping around on the sidewalk dying? Just didn't see it. Didn't see it. So, with that said, I'm going to yield the floor. Thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. This website will be up and running. It'll be interactive. It's going to be awesome. It's going to expedite things, make things a lot easier for me. When we're done with classes, it'll be uploaded for you guys. You'll have it instantaneously, which is cool. That'll take a lot of stress off me yet again and allow me more free time to bring you more credible information that you and yours can use within your community, within your family, within your friends to help protect and shore up freedom, because freedom is not free, ladies and gentlemen. It never has been. It never will be. You either stand up and fight, use logic, sound reasoning, and a good sound mind, or lay down, go back to sleep, fall back in line, hang your head in shame, do the walk of shame every morning. I owe, off to work I go, to your job, just over broke, not just for today, but for the rest of your life. Or get your head on straight and realize, I'll sacrifice everything if only for the truth. I'll sacrifice it all. All I want is the truth. I don't need boats, planes, houses, cars, nothing, bank accounts. I don't need any of that shit. I just want the truth. And like Jack Nicholson said, you can't handle the truth. That's true in a lot of instances. It's very, 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 very true. In a lot of instances, most people can't handle the truth. Thanks for joining me. See you guys soon.